And Dave, well, I mean, a tough one for the Bears, a tough game. They did show you that they can stay with anyone offensively. Now, the defense might be another matter. Your sensibilities may have been insulted.
Totally offended.
By parts of that.
You're forgiven for that.
Of that game. What was your takeaway from last night?
I think you hit on the major points there. You know, let's start with the positive. I mean, it was a video game, right? I mean, it truly was with both offenses, and I thought the variety of play calling was great. You know, I mean, we ran the ball some inside, we ran it outside. I mean, I'm sitting there trying to document the plays, getting ready for these shows during the game, and then there was movement passes with the quarterbacks, and then there was some play action passes. And, you know, I think at the half, 6 or 7 different receivers caught balls again. So, no, it was a great showing. Some motions and shifts. It did. It proved that we can score points and move the football anywhere with anyone. And I think also that's a key point that no one talks about, playing on the road in front of that crowd and it not affecting your offense. I mean, that's, you know, people take that for granted, but the noise and everything that goes with it, I thought the guys handled it well.
It was a historic night, literally, because it was the first time in an NFL game that was tied at 7, 14, 21, 28, and 35. And then according to OptaStats, Dave, get a load of this. The first time the Bears, and first time in NFL history this has happened, a team scores 35 or more points, scores a defensive touchdown.
Wow.
0 turnovers and 0 sacks, yet loses the game.
Yeah.
The Bears were right where they wanted to be. Did everything the right way. He matched the 49ers series for series, just came up one play short.
Yeah, Dennis Allen, I mean, that's a tough deal. And everybody, you know, I'm getting texts last night at 1 in the morning. And let me just say this. From a defensive perspective, you know, when you get those motions and shifts like they do, as good as anybody, and then there's a run off of every pass, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then the quarterback movement stuff. That was one thing with Purdy that I didn't quite anticipate.
Oh.
And it's not that I watch them every week.
His mobility?
Yeah, his mobility.
That was frustrating.
He's grown up quite well.
And Kyle Shanahan called the plays that were quarterback keepers. I mean, that kind of that got me a little bit because I haven't seen him do it that much. You know,
Dave, you mentioned the balance. The Niners had 34 runs. They had 33 pass attempts, and they were sacked once. 34-34 running pass.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's that you talk about a machine, and I'm hoping Ben gets Coach of the Year. But if you wanted to talk about veteran coaches, I mean, you know, the 49ers had 11 players this year put on IR.
11. And they played last night without Kittle and Trent Williams.
Yeah.
So you take that into consideration, and it was a product
and their 2 best defensive guys, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Warner and Bosa.
And yet you come out of that feeling like the Bears can compete with anybody in the NFC.
I think they can, and I think they believe they can. I mean, what was, you know, Caleb, 2 things that happened. One, we get the defensive score, you know, and on that defensive touchdown, if you'll see it probably replayed, take notice that that was a fabulous play by T.J. Edwards. Not just the interception, but if you look at the play, he's in the middle, and the tight end goes to the flat. Try to picture this. The tight end goes to the flat, and our outside linebacker covers him. Well, when you're in zone coverage and you're reading a whole passing concept, there's an old, you know, saying that coaches teach day one. When somebody goes out, linebacker anticipates somebody coming in. So the minute that tight end goes out to the flat, if you watch it close, his eyes turn and he starts hunting up that receiver and starts working that way.
Yes.
So, you know, it wasn't just a luck, oh boy. And then Jalen Johnson is playing zone, but he sees the route. And we used to call that with the corner, you know, some of the great Darnell Wolford, we used to say Darnell Wolford could run the route for a receiver. He was that good of a cornerback.
Right.
Well, Jalen breaks on it good, but the key is, how do we get that interception, people? It's because the guys are well coached. We got talented guys, but smart football players. T.J. Edwards, when he saw that tight end go to flat, he turned and started working right toward that wide receiver, and the ball gets tipped, and he's there for the interception and touchdown. So it's just a football thing that you see, and you really, as a coach, and I think as a fan, because Chicago's got the best fans, I mean, we should appreciate stuff like that. These things just aren't
right
falling out
place,
of the
right
sky.
time.
Right.
They still have to stop the run and rush the passer, but they can also create takeaways that play proves, and T.J. Edwards, that knack for being at the right place at the right time came through.
So you answered one question, Dave, which is, what did they do right on defense? Is there anything else?
I don't want to talk about the other.
I'm just curious.
That's a short conversation.
That's the play.
Here's your challenges. Okay, you say, how can that many guys be open? That's what everybody's wanting to know. Well, the shifts and the motions, you have to honor those. As a defensive player, as a safety, checking the coverage. Let's start there. And then move up to the linebackers. As a linebacker, you have to adjust not just your coverage, but your run responsibility with the shifts and motions. Nobody shifts and motions more than the 49ers.
Yes.
So now, if you picture yourself as the linebacker or safety, and you're moving a little bit, well, they're coming back the other way with a play. And so now you're out of position.
Right.
You're not as much out of position. You're not out of position. You know what you're supposed to do, but you're a little bit late doing it.
Well, the 49ers did to the Bears defensively what the Bears offense does to its opponents.
100%.
Because
David,
they're keeping them
100%.
off guard.
Yeah, but they also
they
were bringing the linebackers up because they had to, and the minute they did that, they were scoring touchdowns on it.
Yeah.
It was exactly what Ben Johnson's trying to do.
I wrote this down right here. 1:15 left into the second, before the half.
Yes.
Was the first time that there was a blitz call that I saw. Both teams were saying, we are not going to get up there and go one-on-one.
That's respect.
And Dennis Allen, give him credit. After that first Green Bay game, when we gave up 2 touchdowns off of 40-yard touchdowns, we come back the second time against Green Bay and we
play coverage.
Thank you. We play coverage, Mully. And in this game, he came into, and Purdy's too smart. And I don't want to get into that situation and get knocked out of this game.
He's too smart because he finds the open guy and he knows the mismatches that exist. And Pearsall was not a good matchup for any Bears defensive back.
Yeah, no, and McCaffrey. If you go, if you get into a blitz coverage and he's in the backfield, you're probably going to have a linebacker responsible for him. Now they move him out into a slot, and that linebacker has him. You got no chance.
He also, by the end of the game, he was exhausted because he was killing them in two different ways.
His back hurt from carrying the offense.
Oh, how about it? That was crazy.
Yeah, that's a good point. I wonder how many touches he had. I don't have that stat in front of me, but it's
Christian McCaffrey had a great game. He had this is his rushing totals. He had 23 carries for 140 yards, and in the passing game, 4 catches for 41. So he touched the ball 27 times.
Yeah.
In the first half, he had 20 touches, and the Bears had run 19 plays.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, how about this for Caleb? I mean, I'm watching that Steeler game earlier to see, and I saw Aaron Rodgers. He's known for it. We all know this. We saw it here as a nightmare. 12 guys on the field, take the guy jumps off sides.
Yes.
So, Caleb, we got one of our touchdowns yesterday, right? When they jump
the
off
pass
sides.
to Loveland was
we
a
got
free play.
And we got a free play, and Caleb didn't throw the ball. I mean, we scored a touchdown.
That was a great presence of mind.
Touchdown.
You wondered, and Kyle Shanahan alluded to this at the halftime interview, if the 49ers heard a whistle. And they stopped because they heard maybe an inadvertent whistle.
Yeah.
They didn't refer to that.
He said that they thought the play should have been killed.
Yes.
Why would it? I mean, that's an advantage.
But didn't you
when
get
the
that sense,
offense
though?
goes offside, that's when you kill the play.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
Their
But
defensive guys did stand there in the end zone. Nobody ran with them.
You've got to coach them to play through that.
Right.
If the offense is running a route, you have to pretend like it matters.
Right. Yeah.
Coach, we were talking about various players that were good or bad or hot and cold in the game. Did anybody jump out to you?
Well, I don't want to talk any negative stuff. I'm going to give credit, and I know we've talked about this on the shore. How about the rookies making an impact in this game and throughout the season? Monangai obviously on offense, but Burden on offense and Loveland on offense. I mean,
difference makers.
Coach, think about the
difference makers.
The rookies that are. How about our guy Walker? He's a rookie, right?
Jade Walker, undrafted free agent wide receiver. The guy who makes a huge catch against the Packers and was the intended receiver.
Yes.
He came within 3 feet of being the hero again.
Yes.
Yeah.
The pass
That
just
would've been
short.
hilarious.
So the rookie class kind of jumped out at me.
Points well taken, Dave, because remember back at the draft, we know that Ryan Poles was doing the drafting, and it's always the general manager, but we call it the Ben Johnson's draft because they kind of, if you could say, maybe reach for a tight end at 10. And then they move up to get Burden, and they celebrated like he was a first rounder that fell to them. Then they take the left tackle, who's a right tackle.
I forgot about Austin.
And you're like, what are they doing?
I forgot about him.
And then little guy Monangai in the 7th round. And you're like, what are they doing here? All these offensive guys. Oh, this is the Ben Johnson draft. And now last night you see, pretty smart.
Yeah.
Good picks.
They need those picks on defense for next
They
year.
do. They need to be just as inspired in April defensively as they were last year.
And trade for Max Crosby, too.
That's
Crosby, Hendrickson. There'll be a few pass rushers out there. Absolutely.
But what did you like about the way Monangai has fit in and gave them that kind of combination last night? And also, how do you explain I don't want to say quick emergence, but doesn't it seem as if Luther Burden has emerged as a guy who has developed that kind of clutch chemistry with Caleb Williams?
Well, I'll be honest with you, and I don't want to get into this because they're both great players, and we're fired up. We're going to the playoffs, okay? So I'm going to – but who are you going to get the ball to, Rome Odunze or Burden? I almost think that Burden with the ball is the most dangerous receiver.
He is.
Speed, miss, toughness. I think he might be the most dangerous receiver here. DJ Moore, I think, has got better hands. Colson's got better hands. I mean, we can break them down that way. But I think that Burden, to answer your question, David, I think he's emerged and established himself as a real threat. That if you're defending the Bears this week, Detroit better be talking about where Burden is and how we're going to stop him.
He's the guy that if you're a defensive coordinator, whether it's Jeff Hafley again, if they play the Packers in the first round or whoever it may be down the road, he's a wide receiver that you say, we can't let him beat us. You're going to take your best defensive back and say on third downs, he's your guy.
Yeah.
He's your man. And if you blitz, you're putting your best defensive back on Luther Burden.
Yeah, and he got the speed and the tough. I just love his toughness. And I remember we talked about it on this show early in the year. Somebody scored a touchdown in the red zone running the ball. And we talked about how Luther Burden was in the end zone blocking. I mean, they had him in there as a blocker.
He's not afraid to mix it up.
And God,
like that.
I really appreciate that with a receiver that's not afraid to contribute more than catching the ball.
Dave, let's talk about the organizational approach to this game, because there's some playoff realities you have to acknowledge. The Bears are the 2 seed right now. The Eagles are the 3 seed. They're both 11-5. The Eagles play the Commanders. The Bears play the Lions. If the Bears lose and the Eagles win, the Eagles will be the 2 seed. The Bears will be the 3 seed. And they would, if they play in advance, they would forfeit the possibility of hosting 2 playoff games. If you're the number 2 seed, you can look forward to 2 playoff home games. I think the Bears are going to play their starters because of that. Yeah. I'd be surprised if they don't, I should put it that way. How is the approach and how does that conversation go, knowing you want to stay healthy, but also valuing what it means to be at home down the road?
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head there and explained it. They should bring you in and let you explain it to the team. I mean, because when you look at it that way, the way Green Bay is right now, besides getting their feelings hurt versus Baltimore. They also lost another 2 starters for the season. So you talk about a team that is beat up mentally and physically. I'd rather play Green Bay right now than one of those teams. One of those be a San Francisco again or the Rams, right? I mean,
right.
Or Seattle. I mean, a West Coast team. Let's leave it at that. So, yeah, I think there is a lot of motivation to get in that number 2 seed, just for the reason that you talked about, and who your opponent might be week 1 coming out of the block.
I'm not convinced that the Seahawks are the best team in the NFC. You saw, I watched a little bit of that Panther game. The 49ers looked like the best team in the NFC last night.
You know, the thing about the Seahawks are they're awful good at home, too.
They're defensively, too.
They are a very good defense, and they're good at home. I think that the NFC West, we saw how good the Niners are, even with all the injuries, etc. They have a chance to be at home for the whole operation. Then you look at the LA Rams. That team we haven't talked enough about. I get it that the MVP may well come out of New England, but you'd have to say Stafford has been the MVP most of the season, and the combination of the coach and the quarterback would scare the hell out of anybody in the playoffs.
And a top 10 defense.
Yes.
And a young top 10 defense that will get after you now. I'm talking about the Rams. So
yes.
You're right. I don't know. Pick your poison. I mean, that was Seattle going down there and beating Carolina on the road, like you said, because I wasn't sure if they could do it on the road.
Yes.
Against a playoff potential team in Carolina who's playing well. And, man, that was an impressive win.
Darnold is impressive when he needs to be. I think overall he also feels like he's got the history that you wouldn't mind playing him given the other choices.
Because he's fouled in
everything
the playoffs
is relative,
repeatedly.
right?
Fouled at the end of last year.
Even last night. I would rather see the Bears play Sam Darnold and the Seahawks in Seattle than Brock Purdy again in Levi Stadium.
100%.
Because that, with the Shanahan Purdy combination with George Kittle healthy.
Kittle back, Trent back.
You don't want to see them again.
And who knows? Fred Warner is threatening to come back, although
that'd be crazy.
That is insane.
That would be crazy. I would isolate Colston Loveland on that to test that injury return. But nonetheless, I do believe when you're looking at the Bears slotted into the 325 home slot against the Lions.
Yep.
Number one, you've got incentive to maintain home field until you have to go on the road in the NFC Championship. Number two, and you tell me from a coaching perspective how much this matters. They embarrassed you. That was the last time you really felt like 52-21. They mocked Ben Johnson, and you know that probably stung, and you have a point you want to make. I don't know if that factors into the decision-making, Dave, but I would think I would understand if it does.
I don't think it should, but I think there are other reasons. And that might be a personal issue for him or whatever.
Hard to ignore, though, right?
I would guarantee it's something he'd ignore.
It's there.
But you don't.
It'll come out. You know what? All they need to do is put the tape on. And that's the biggest thing with players. I mean, a coach can stand up there, Ben can stand up there and say, they've embarrassed us and we need this for the 2 seed rather than the 3. And the players will hear that. And some of them will get it, but most of them won't. But I'll tell you what, you put that tape on and you watch Jahmyr Gibbs making 2 guys miss or whatever it might be, that will get your attention as a player because you don't want your pride to be hurt from a physical standpoint. That's me out there. And physically, I've got to do something. I'm not going to leave that performance on the field again. So watching that tape will be an eye-opener. And the good news is the Bears have come so far, offensively and in some areas defensively since that game that I think it could be encouraging because now the coaches can sit there and say, you see that there? We're not doing that now. Look how much better we are with our protection on offense. And look how we're blocking that thing and, whatever it might be. So I think there's a lot of positives that by showing that tape, the Bears coaches can get relayed to the players because we're playing so much better and we've improved as the year's gone on.
it's very interesting. The Bears obviously rebuilt their offensive line. That is maybe the strength of the team right now. You look at Joe Thuney making the Pro Bowl yet again. No surprise there. You look what happened in Kansas City. Probably a surprise to everyone, but his presence obviously.
He knew.
Drew Dahlman is another guy you sign in free agency. He makes the Pro Bowl. That's great stuff.
Yeah.
But they signed a guy in free agency in Grady Jarrett, who he was supposed to be the answer defensively to what they did on the inside. And a guy that really can play football, didn't have a great, hasn't had a very good season. Was a really powerful player in Atlanta, and I thought maybe some of that was the dome and on the carpet, and would he be better in those situations? Yeah. Bigsy writes the thing about him today, talking about his leadership ability and how much he's meant to the younger players. But in it, there is an inclusion of the fact that he apparently needed a cleanup of his knee.
Arthroscopic surgery.
Yes, he was coming off a knee injury. This was supposed to be the next full year after the knee, and he needed arthroscopic surgery, and he missed 3 games. Does that explain why he hasn't been as impactful in terms of his numbers and his ability as we've seen from him in the past?
I've had players go through that the surgery that he had, assuming that he had that.
Yeah.
And they come back and the doctors clear them. They're tough guys. They say, I can play with it. But every practice, you're in there getting your knee drained because the fluid just accumulates. And for a big guy like himself, I mean, it's tougher, because now you're taking on blocks and you got 350-pound guys laying on you. I could see where he would come back and play, but what was the thing that he did best, and the thing that I was excited about when they signed him. I thought he was kind of that athlete, slippery guy inside that could make plays in the backfield.
Yes.
That's kind of what he did.
Yeah. He's a smaller rather than bigger run stopper, but he
a playmaker.
He gets into crevices in that defense and makes tons of plays.
Creates pressure on passing situations, and he makes plays. He makes negative plays. And
hasn't happened this year.
No, it's not. It's going to be tough to make it happen coming off that knee. I think if that is the case.
Back to offense and the decision, perhaps regarding Caleb Williams playing or not playing. He has not missed an NFL start. His availability has been one of his greatest strengths. His durability as well. He also is 270 yards from 4,000 and 109 yards away from the franchise record that Eric Kramer set in 1995. You might remember that well. Do you factor any of those things in when deciding whether or not Caleb Williams should or shouldn't play against the Lions?
Oh God, I mean, I would say no, but he's going to know it, and his agent's going to know it, and it's going to be talked. He's going to have that conversation with Ben, so Ben's aware of it. Boy, you just don't want to take a chance of getting him hurt if you don't have to. And now you get into the trade-off of, the 2 seed versus the 3 seed, and is it worth an injury? No, it's not worth an injury. I don't care what seed you have. If Caleb goes down, it's gonna hurt your football team. So it's a tough one. He's gonna start. He's going to start, and I think Ben's going to see how the flow of the game's going. Is Detroit going to show up biting kneecaps or not?
Well,
that's a good point. No, is Aiden Hutchinson making the trip? Is he going to be active?
If he's playing, that means the entire offensive line is playing. That means you're playing your starters.
Just like the third preseason game. And what's the I would say we're going, and I would probably go, we usually say, let's say there's 10 reps, the starters get 7, the backups get 3, right? That's the way most teams do it. Might be 6 and 4. I would go 50-50 this week. I would probably play my backups half the practice reps. I would start the starters, knowing that the backups had reps, and then I would see where Detroit's at, how we're playing, number one, and where's Detroit? Is Detroit here to try to win this game? They might come in here, and who knows? Jared Goff may not play. I mean, we don't know what Dan Campbell's going to do.
Hard to say what they're going to be thinking.
But they still have that running game I'm just saying they could do you some damage.
Yes.
You need kind of a feel good out of this game, in my opinion, if they're
you
losing the way you lost.
Momentum is the key. I mean, you
Yeah.
talk about going into the playoffs with momentum. What would be good momentum for this game?
A blowout.
Winning it. Yeah, winning it and feeling good and having everybody fired up, not going in.
Because you don't have a bye.
This would be the only team in the division that could win the season series against you. So you want to keep that from happening.
I think you want to do that. Yeah, you want to be strong in the division that you won. And you also, I do wonder this. I do think that the Ben Johnson factor, it's not lost on him. This game will have more significance or maybe as much as the Packers game because of the Lions' connection to his past.
Yeah, I guarantee
that's got to be something that he's.
I mean, when you leave someplace and it falls apart, do you feel like you won, or do you feel like?
I don't think you think about it much. You know, to be honest with you, I mean, that's the last thing that's on Ben's mind. Trust me, he's got a lot of good friends probably up there. Yeah. You know, front office, trainer. I mean, in addition to coaches and players, so that's not going to be a factor at all, in my opinion. But I'll tell you who was in the office first one this morning is Dennis Allen, those defensive coaches. I mean, they do not want to have a track meet again against Detroit like it was last week. So they're going to do, everything that they can do defensively to come out here this week.
Keep them from 50.
They can't hang 52 on you. Not again.
Oh, boy.
I think that game changed the Bears' direction, or at least left a mark. And going back, that was the beginning of that. They bottomed out that day in Detroit.
That was bad.
The beginning of the turnaround.
That was the first game of the year was difficult. They should never have lost that game. They managed to lose it. Then you go to Detroit, and the way they treated Ben Johnson, calling him a traitor and all that stuff was just that had to hurt a little bit. And then they came around.
Yeah,
it's been pretty fun. Dave, you're the best. Thank you, Bob.
Thanks for getting up early.
Yeah,
we worked late.
Yeah, no problem. Looking for a big week in college football, right?
Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
How about the Hurricanes? They're back. I love their post-game interviews.
We heard.
Oh boy.
We heard. Keep Michael Irvin away from kissing Cristobal next time, huh? Did you see that?
Wait, you think Michael Irvin was bad? You wait till this weekend. Get ready. It's Warren Sapp, Ray Lewis, they're
all back.
All the convicts and Catholics are back.
Again.
Here we go. Hold on, folks.
Don't they play someone fairly decent, Dave?
Yes, they do.
Isn't there a little bit of an issue there?
Yes.
I'm glad you're enjoying your life, but let me wipe the smile off your face.
It'll be fun.